Hey, I'm TM, and this is Animal Man by Jeff Lemire, and you're watching Comic Addicts with SFon82.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Addicts. This is episode 35. It's Monday, September 11th. I hope everybody's week is off to a good start so far. Had to work today, just a normal old work day, and then I came home getting ready for this awesome guest that we have tonight. But first, I do have a few things that I wanted to talk about before I bring them out. CBC finalists, CBC voting is it's going, y'all. We have until November 18th. But actually, let me kick it over to Brian and let him tell you further details on this.
Hey YouTube, Brian LCS with a Comic Book Community Awards update. Finalist voting is now open for the 2023 Comic Book Community Awards and runs through November 18th. So please visit cbcawards.org and vote for your favorites in 26 different categories.
I'll make sure you go vote. Have until November 18th. A lot of really good, content creators nominated. Thank you to everybody that nominated us for or Comic Book Addicts for Best Ongoing Series. Really honored to be nominated for that. I thought that was pretty awesome. But yeah, be sure you go and vote. Also, me and Frank from Frank's BS, we are looking for one more person for the You Collect What live stream. On this live stream, we dive into different hobbies of all different types. And on the next episode, we're actually going to be taking a look at raw crystals, stones, precious metals, and collectors of that kind of stuff. And we need one more collector, y'all. So if you or anybody that you know collects this kind of stuff, hit us up on You Collect What live stream at gmail.com. And we're actually going to do a future episode on Barbie, believe it or not. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. I don't know anything about Barbie, but I look forward to learning things about different hobbies and what it is about the hobbies that make people want to collect it and have a love for it. I think it's really interesting. But anyways, if you know anybody, hit us up on You Collect What live stream at gmail.com. Next week on Comic Book Addicts, y'all, we have an amazing guest. We got Trish Forstner, and if you're not familiar with Trish Forstner, she was an artist on Stray Dogs, and she does work on she does a lot of cover art for Dynamite titles like Darkwing Duck, Gargoyles, a bunch of titles, just a bunch of different titles. But she'll be on. I'll have my brother Marcus Circumstances. He will be back on to help me co-host and help me welcome special guest Trish Forstner. But that'll be next week. I think that's Monday the 18th. So yeah, y'all be sure to come back next Monday. And after this live stream, be sure to hop over to Roscoe's channel for Between the Lines. Him and Travis will have a special guest, Remy Q Studios over there. Let me check in with the chat and see. I'm probably way behind in the chat now. What's going on, Las Crucias? How you doing, brother? He says hello from New Mexico. Hope you're doing well. Cupo Comics in the house. What's going on, brother? I hope you're doing well. He says comic fans. What's going on? We got Circumstances in the house. He says lovingly caress that like button. So y'all be sure to hit that like button. Got a really good guest tonight. Collecting with Durs says hello, my beautiful homies. What's going on, Durs? I hope you're doing well. We got Travis, TM Nerdy. I was just talking about them. He is one half of the Between the Lines crew. They'll be having Remy Q Studios on here in about an hour. It's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to check that out. That'll be on Geek Out with Roscoe's channel. K-Pop, what's going on? How are you? I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Going down the list. We got Trev, the shipping guru. What's going on, Trev? I hope you're doing well this evening, brother. Let's see. Frank's BS. What's up? What's going on, man? A lot of people in here. Brian LCS. What is going on? Make sure I'm not missing anybody before I bring out the guests. Let's see. Oh, we got Phil Ailing. What's going on, Phil? I hope you're doing well. He says hi, all. Let's see. Dr. Von Hoot. How you doing? He says evening, all. Got some more people popping in. Yeah, I think I got everybody there. I want to bring out tonight's guest. My guest tonight is a talented artist and creator. whose autobiographical title, can I speak English? The Greatest Thing You've Ever Seen in Your Life, was one of my favorite reads from last year. So I was super excited when Sonia accepted my invitation to join us. But y'all help me welcome Sonya Saturday to the live stream. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you. Picked up this book. It was a birthday present to myself back in April. And I read it. I saw your artwork, and I really liked your style of artwork. And I wanted to pick the book up, and I got it as a birthday present to myself and thoroughly enjoyed it. And super, super happy to be able to talk to you this evening.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So who is Sonia Saturday? Tell us a little bit about yourself for anybody at home who is not familiar with you.
I'm a cartoonist primarily. I've been drawing comics since like the late 90s, since like I got kind of serious about it around like 99, which was around kind of when I started undergrad. And so my kind of first gig drawing comics, I was doing a comic strip at the time called Load, and that was in my like college newspaper. And then even after college, I had it running for like 9 years weekly. And then by that point, it was in like a couple international publications, couple of alternative news weeklies and stuff. But in addition to that, I do like a lot of comic books. I put out some mini series. I put out a bunch of like single issue, like one shots. I've done some like political books, mainly like political coloring books. I've done 2 of those. I just had a new kind of satirical children's book come out, and I've had other children's books, and I'm kind of all over the place. I do photography, and I do some video stuff. That's kind of the shortest version of it, which is a lot.
You're making your rounds at the cons too, because I follow you on IG. I see you've hit some cons this year as well.
Yeah, I try to do a bunch of cons. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, so I mainly do them in like Southern California area. I started on the East Coast, but out here I typically do, most years I usually do a panel or 2, and at like places like WonderCon and San Diego Comic-Con and LA Comic-Con, and where was I just at? I was just at Long Beach Comic-Con. Yeah, so I like to get out and be around people.
That's awesome. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville.
And I came out to LA about almost 20 years ago. Next year I'll be 20 years. I came out here right after film school to kind of like focus on art direction for film. But I really only did that.
Is there more opportunity on the West Coast?
Well, I mean, this is LA. This is like where the film industry is based, especially 20 years ago. But like when I was in film school, my professors kept saying, if you want to work in movies, you should be in LA. And so like right after film school, I just like packed up my car and drove to LA, and I've been here ever since. So
nice. Now, I think I've talked to you back and forth a little bit in the past before about like you have collected some comic books. You were a comic book collector at some point, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I grew up reading comic books. Absolutely. I mean, I love comics. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got into going to the comic book store every week with like, my pull list. They'd have my box at the store. I mean, I was lucky to have like a mom who was kind of okay with it. So like Fridays, she would get off from work early on Fridays. And so she would take myself and my younger brother and I to the comic book store to like pick up our stuff. We couldn't pick up our stuff on Wednesdays on New Comic Book Day. So we'd have to wait till Friday, Friday was our New Comic Book Day. And so, I started reading comics like really seriously in the early 90s. It was probably around the time like when Image started. So like, I mean, the first book that I really really got into was Spawn. I just love like monsters and stuff and demons.
Me too.
Like monsters and demons are just kind of still my thing. And
I've noticed that.
Yeah,
I can see it in your art.
Yeah, I'm into that stuff. I mean, I use like a lot of like bright colors and stuff. I really like bright like pinks and purples, but like the kind of stuff I'm into is like monsters and horror and everything. So
I love the way that you drew yourself on this particular page.
Yeah,
how you are at nighttime. I'm not doing a very good job showing it there, but it's me every day and me every night. That's kind of crazy the way you drew yourself, like ripping your way out of your own flesh. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then like, I've got this whole like alternate persona that I kind of dress up as a couple nights a week, where I like put on horns and I wear fangs and I put blood design on my face and I go dancing, and I'm just like, the demon thing is like my thing. So in my strip, it's an auto-bio strip, but I kind of make it also sort of fantastical in that like the demon part of me is actually just like real. It's not like a character. So I like to kind of mix the two.
What got you started originally into art?
I mean, I was drawing when I was a kid. My parents kind of discouraged it. They weren't really encouraging about it, but I was like drawing. I drew my first like comic book when I was like 5 years old.
Wow,
like with some like
cool.
crayons. It was about like a skateboarding Tyrannosaurus. It was very 80s.
Nice.
And I still love dinosaurs. I still love drawing dinosaurs. And but as far as like drawing, the one thing that I could do creatively, like in high school, that my parents weren't totally opposed to, was I was actually a theater kid, and so I would write plays. And so luckily
cool.
I had a school that would put on like a night of student one acts every year. So like a couple years in a row, my plays were performed and the scripts were like sent to festivals and stuff. So at some point, I just sort of started drawing out my my plays as I was working on them to kind of figure out the staging and stuff. And that kind of eventually turned into comic strips. And like I was saying before, it was really once I got to undergrad that I really started just putting my ideas out into strips rather than into plays.
And those strips, that was kind of the beginning of your cartoonist career?
Yeah, I didn't know how to draw. I mean, I don't have any like artistic training. I didn't go to art school until graduate school, which was like 5 years ago. And by that point, like I already have my style down, I'm really mostly I'm just self-taught and looking at artists that I grew up liking. When you look at other artists' work and you're drawing, you kind of take the pieces that you like and figure out how to incorporate them into your own work and make them your own, so.
Who are some artists that inspire you?
Oh God. Well, I mean,
sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh no, that's a good one, because I mean I get inspired by a lot of artists, but starting really early, like I grew up loving Ren and Stimpy, like John K. Ren and Stimpy. I mean, he's totally like canceled now and everything. Nobody will work with him, but like Ren and Stimpy just like formed a lot of my sense of humor. I mean, I was already like primed to like funny stuff because like when I was in elementary school, I was really into Weird Al's music, and I'm still into Weird Al. So
that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, so I like funny stuff, but Ren and Stimpy kind of like formed my sort of cartoony sense of humor, and
that must be why I like your styles and your humor so much.
Yeah, I like the kind of irreverent, off the wall stuff,
Me too, for sure. So, see, what different types of things inspire you to create? Like what made you want to start creating these awesome books that you create?
Well, the auto bio strip, The Greatest Thing You've Ever Seen in Your Life, that just kind of came about because like I finished graduate school. I went back to school in 2018 to get my master's in fine art and specifically in comics. And then after grad school, it was like 2020 and like there was no way to get work with like a master's degree in comics in 2020, and there probably still isn't. But I was just kind of like really frustrated. I kind of wasn't really sure what to do because I constantly have a lot of ideas and sometimes I feel kind of stuck. And at some point, I've been saving up a bunch of these stories because for years, I've been around. I try to be open to a lot of like new experiences and meeting new people, and like something pops up and I'm unfamiliar with it, I'll go along, I'll see what that's about, or I'll talk to this person. And so I had a lot of these stories that I just wanted to tell for a long time, and I wasn't really sure what kind of outlet to do. But then, it was the pandemic, everybody's just at home, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to start putting these stories out. So, I started just drawing them really quickly in pen. They just looked like total garbage, and I was putting them on Instagram, and people kind of related to them. And then, so I just sort of eventually started kind of refining them and fixing up the art and coloring them. And making them into a way that I personally find more acceptable for myself. So
I think that's so awesome. Yeah, you were channeling all that built up energy that you had into this awesome comic book. I wanted to ask you, all these stories, there's some pretty crazy stories in here. What percentage of the stories in this book are just straight up real stories? Are they all real, or are some of them?
I mean, no, they're like all real. Like everything's real or based on real life or some. I mean, some of them are just like jokes. I mean, I have this whole like recurring thing where it's like Professor Saturday, where I'm like a professor teaching some ridiculous concept or whatever. And
yeah,
I mean, that's just me joking around generally. But as far as like interactions with people, like I'm looking at it right now because I'm like
I'm flipping through
all
it
this.
myself.
Yeah, all this really happened. I mean, except for the parts of me like ripping my flesh off and everything, I didn't exactly do that. Not yet, anyway. One of these days.
Yeah, some of these stories are hilarious. There's a story on a family vacation with my hilarious grandmother in the year 2000, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's totally true. That happened. I've been saving that since I was 20 years old. Yeah.
Let's see. The only time I've ever been called the F word, obscenity. There's some crazy stories in here though. I don't know. It was super entertaining though. Do you have any copies of this book left for sale?
Yeah. I've got about a dozen left. Yeah, they're on my Etsy shop. Yeah.
Where can people find it at? You said on Etsy?
Yeah, I've got an Etsy shop. You can get this, and then the second issue too, which has me on the toilet on the cover, which is super classy.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got those on my Etsy shop. I have more of the second one available because it's more recent, But yeah, I've still got about a dozen or so of the first issue left. I'm selling them at like shows and stuff in person. So if anybody wants to like snag it from my shop now, then now's a good time.
Yeah, you heard it. Durst said you just earned cool points from him. So I don't know if it was because of the cover on the toilet or what, but you earned cool points either way. So
let's just go with the toilet thing, I think.
Yeah, the toilet thing. I haven't read the new one yet. I want to get a copy though. Is it more of the same, like more of the same crazy type stories in the newer book?
Yeah, it's some of my earlier strips. I kind of put the more recent ones that I was more happy with the art in the first issue. And then so for the second issue, I spent a lot of time. Those are a lot more like text heavy. That's just a lot more words. There's a lot of art in it too, but there's less art, more text, and it's like longer written stories, but it's all like handwritten, so it takes a while. But it's essentially the same thing. It's like run-ins with like. I mean, I have a whole thing in there, but all the times I've run into like Ron Jeremy over the years, the now incarcerated former adult film star, and like,
now, hold on, we got to talk about that for a second. You've had run-ins with Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in Hollywood for nearly 20 years, and I mean, he lived around here. People see him everywhere. I'm not the only one, but I kind of he. A couple of years ago was indicted on like 34 something counts of sexual assault, which didn't come as a surprise to anyone from this area.
Wow.
So when the indictments came out, I kind of put a few of the incidents of times I ran into him, places I'd seen him, kind of into kind of a 2-page thing about just all about how weird he was and places I saw him and all that. Yeah, I used to see him all the time. Yeah, he really lived right around the corner. I would see him at the grocery store all the time.
That's in the grocery
and at porn star karaoke, because that used to be a thing that I would go to, and that was pretty great. So
yes, what's porn star karaoke? I want to hear more about that.
Oh well, I don't think it's a thing anymore, but it was a long-running thing in was it Studio City, or was it? I think it was in Studio City or Burbank. Where it was run by it was like an adult industry karaoke night in this bar, and it was once a week. It was like every Tuesday or Thursday night, and you go and do karaoke, and a bunch of adult film stars would be there. And it always had the same couple of hosts, but you never really knew who. There were a bunch of regulars, and for a while I was a regular. I mean, I used to work in the adult industry.
Really?
And I have a lot of friends that worked in the adult industry. And
how was that?
It depends on which aspect of it, because I've had a bunch of different jobs in the industry, and I've been like an assistant to a porn star, and I've been like done like video work. I've done some performance, and
What was the coolest job? What was the coolest one?
cool. I mean, it was all only the ones that involved going to parties and meeting people. That was the cool stuff.
Okay.
Generally,
Interaction with people.
yeah, I like meeting interesting kind of people on sort of the fringes of society. You know, I mean that just appeals to me because I kind of feel like I'm there in a lot of ways. So I try to
Same.
find like kindred spirits. You know.
No, I feel you. I totally feel you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they used to have porn star karaoke, and it ran for like 14 years, like weekly. And so he would show up. Ron Jeremy would show up a lot. So yeah.
I don't see him being a very well. Actually, I think I've heard him sing before. Isn't he like a surprisingly good singer?
He would never sing. Not there.
He wouldn't.
He would just know this is in the comic in the story. So I'm gonna give some of the details away. But he used to show up there and make all the singing stop so that he could get the DJs and stuff to like pull up YouTube clips of times he was in like mainstream music videos and movies, and just have everybody just watch that stuff. It was totally bizarre.
He has been in a lot of random music videos though.
Yeah, so he would just show people stuff he's done as like a way to like talk himself up. It was totally bizarre. So
Yeah,
like every time he would show up, the singing would stop.
That's odd behavior.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about what was the J.K. Rowling and the Ungrateful Fans? What is this one about?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. This is my very, very newest book from Stack Deck Press. It's a children's book. It's a satirical children's book. It's a parody of The Giving Tree. If you've ever read The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein, it's a parody of that, where instead of a tree, it's this writer, and it's about the stuff that's been going on with J.K. Rowling about the last few years. I'm trans, and she's taken it upon herself to attack people like me for the last 5 or 6 years or so. And so I didn't really want to comment on it, but like she's been doing it for so long, and I just sort of felt like I wanted to put something out there about it. And it's essentially The Giving Tree, where it's like, in The Giving Tree, the tree gives the stuff to a little kid, and then he comes back and he takes more and he takes more and he takes more. Well, this is like that, except she gives kids all this stuff, and then they come back and they want more, which in this case, it's like, can you just like stop attacking trans people? And she's just like, no, I don't have to stop. I can just do whatever I want because I'm rich and famous. So why would I? And so it's kind of a back and forth like that. And it's actually pretty funny. I did a live reading of it a couple months ago at a convention, and people really dug it. So
it went over pretty well.
Yeah, the response has been really good. I mean, especially out here in Southern California. I mean, I'm not going to get a lot of pushback going to the places that I go, but yeah, the response has been really good, and I feel really happy about it.
I think that's great, man. I really feel like, I don't know, everybody should be able to live the way that they want to, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. What's the problem?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know. People have like asked me like, so, I mean, I did an interview at San Diego Comic-Con in July, where I was being asked like, so what do you think people should do? Do you think people should like keep supporting her work if they're unhappy with it? And I'm like, I'm not here to tell you where to spend your money. Like, it's totally up to you. Like, I'm just making a statement about what I'm seeing. Like, if you want to keep supporting her, it's totally up to you. I'm not gonna like get mad at you or something about it.
Yeah. Norrin Rad's asking, have you ever tried doing a 24-hour comic? What is a 24-hour comic? I'm not sure what he's asking.
I think that's like where people, I mean, I know a bunch of people who've done that, where it's like an event or something where you like get together with people, and I guess people do it at home now, but from what I understand, like you draw like a full story in 24 hours or whatever. I mean, I've never done it like that, but like, I don't know. I've put out a lot of work over the years, and so like, I don't know. I tend to like not get involved in like that kind of stuff. I don't know why. Like people do like Inktober every October, where it's like they're always doing ink drawings and everything, and
yeah,
I never participate in that sort of stuff. I really have like an aversion to like any sort of like group, hey, let's all go do this. And it's not because I have anything against it. It's just like, I don't know. I tend to not participate in that. I'm kind of more on my own, I suppose. I don't know why. I just am.
But you stay pretty active though. I see you getting out and doing stuff all the time on your social media. You teaching classes and hitting all the cons, making your rounds, and I see you having all these interactions with people though.
Yeah, I think I definitely do all that. I think it's when it's more of like let's all go to the circus today. I'm like, no, I'm going to go to the swimming pool. Not that I ever go to a swimming pool, but or the circus. But it's just sort of like when everyone's going this way, I'm kind of more content to just be here doing my own thing.
Yeah. I feel that. What other type? What's a typical day in the life of Sonia Saturday?
You know what? I'm pretty active all day, and yet I feel like I get nothing done. I have I've put this in my comics, but I've really struggled with like mental health for years, like my own mental health with like depression and that sort of thing, depression,
I can relate,
and all that stuff, like really serious depression. So, over the years, I've kind of had to like develop this whole like routine of things I need to do every morning and every day and every night to kind of keep me functional and going. So, there are many parts of my day that are like kind of already dictated in like a routine where it's like I've got morning yoga and I've got meditation and I've got exercises and then I've got an evening exercises and evening meditations and all kinds of fasting and stuff. And like, and these are just the things that I've discovered that help me exist,
Yeah.
So that's a lot of my day is structured that way, because when I find that I have a lot of unstructured time, my mind goes places that I may not want to be.
Yeah.
So, so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of just keeping myself functional.
No, I can totally relate to that. It's just it's a maintenance it's a daily maintenance that you do to make sure that you stay on top of things so you don't fall down into that depression. I do know what it's like to struggle with mental health. It's horrible. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It's so bad. But I'm glad that you found some things that you're able to do that help you stay out of that, because I know personally how bad that can be.
Yeah. It's good when you find things that like work for you and you can like see progress, and then like progress leads to more progress. So like I feel like I'm in a pretty decent place right now. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. And also, like part of staying on top of things is like setting goals for yourself, setting like short-term goals and then setting long-term goals for yourself. What are some different goals that you have set for yourself? Now, not necessarily even with the art, but just in your life in general.
You know what? Goals are something I have yet to really fully master. I'm pretty good with maintenance.
Yeah.
With personal daily maintenance. As far as like goals, it's tough because like I can do goals that'll take like months, like putting out like a book, like I know like I want to get this book done in like 3 months, and I have those are goals. Those to me, those are more long-term goals. Like 3 months is like long-term to me.
Yeah.
Anything past that, it's tough because I tend to feel like with my life, like I was saying earlier, I like to kind of experience just things that occur. Like if I come across interesting people or events or whatever, I want to be open to it. So consequently, I tend to think of my life as sort of, I'm just kind of riding the wave, just kind of life and of time. And thank you for putting that listing in there, Durs.
Yeah, thank you, Durs. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just kind of sort of going with it. I would love to be much better at setting long-term goals. I am not there yet. It's probably why I put out like
I mean, that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I just learned with myself that it's important with me, just like you have your meditations or whatever that you do. That's just something that I do myself. It doesn't mean that it necessarily everybody has to do it. I just
totally.
thought I would ask.
Yeah. No, it's kind of just like a weird spot for me in that, like, I think about this stuff and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I would like to be in this place in 5 years, but I don't know, if something else comes up, I might be cool with that too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just very open to possibilities, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, where do you want to go with your artwork?
Oh, I want to be the most famous, popular cartoonist in the world. I mean,
Just filthy rich, forget everybody that you know.
What else is there? Yeah, I just want to like be really popular and sell a lot of stuff and have movies and stuff made out of my stuff and
that would actually be sick.
Really one of my first loves is film. I went to film school, and when I was writing scripts and everything, and it's not something. It's just that when I was on film sets, I would want to just be at home drawing comics. So like, but no, I've got all kinds of stuff. I write plays and want to do movies and more comics and more books and just be like super awesome and have like people who love my work. And I do have people who love my work, which is really nice.
Me,
like I have
right
to,
here.
Yeah, like you, right? Yeah. So like I have to like remind myself of that when I get stuck in my head. Like, there are people that really like my stuff. I've been doing this for like 20 years, so there must be something there. But yeah, no, just be like super famous and rich and just go around the world and do awesome things and I don't know, get laid a lot. So that sounds pretty good.
I think that sounds like an amazing plan. So, and I really seriously hope that it happens for you. I really do.
Thank you.
What's like the craziest story that you've put in one? I don't want to give too much away. See, that's the thing. I want to show your books off, but at the same time, I don't want to give too much away. But like, what's the craziest story in any one of the books that you've written? Like, I know there's some pretty crazy ones in this one, but I just want to give people a taste of what is in this juicy title.
Well, I don't know, because like it's for me, it's kind of hard to put in perspective because they've all happened to me. So I don't know what would be that out there to someone else. I mean,
it gets pretty intimate. It gets pretty intimate.
It's all good. What are you thinking of?
I don't know. I don't know. You reveal your first time in there, which I thought was like, that's like you're putting it all out there with that one.
Oh yeah, that is in there. The first time I had sex when I was a teenager.
In your mom's car. In your mom's car.
Yeah, it was in my mom's car, right outside of my mom's dental office. Yeah, it was pretty great. I mean, it wasn't. It was terrible, but that's why it's in the book.
I think everybody's first time was terrible, no matter where it was, right? You just got to get it out of the way.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like a funny story. Like when I think back on it, like, oh, that was a pretty silly situation. That could have gone better. And I don't know. Let's just share this. That's something.
Your hilarious grandmother. What was your relationship like with your grandmother?
She didn't like me. She didn't like me very much. I didn't like her very much.
Okay, I can relate. Most of my family doesn't like me either, so I can relate to that.
Yeah. Most of my family doesn't like me. Yeah.
That's
I think
okay.
I can pretty safely say that. Yeah,
that's okay.
But,
hey, we're still here. We're still here, and we're doing good, right?
Yeah, but that one comic that I have with her in there, it's just her giving me a really sick burn. She just like really insulted me when I was like 20 years old. She just like savaged me with like one word, and I was like, damn, that was really good, Grandma.
It was pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Got to give Grandma props in that one.
Yeah. She was good with a sly insult.
Oh man. So is there, guys at home, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to ask anything, as long as it's in a respectful manner, of course. Feel free to ask anything. What do you got coming up in the near future? Anything cool? You got any cons coming up anytime soon?
You know what? I'm actually starting to get back out. I took a break from, I used to do like a lot of like Ben did a lot of art shows and stuff. I did that for quite a while, and then like I said, I went back to school a few years back, and so I took a break from it. But now I'm kind of ready to sort of get back out and do more shows. So I've got like, I'm been at like a experimental music art night here in Hollywood. I'll have some info on that on my Instagram pretty soon, I think. And then I'm
Cool.
got another art show. I'm going to be vending in another art show, Pancakes and Booze, coming up in November. Yeah, I don't know. As far as like other projects, I'm always kind of like I've started putting together a third issue of this because I've got even more stuff to put in, and I have, you know, I'd like to get the third issue out by, I was going to say by the end of the year, but it's already September. I can totally do it. Maybe. So that might be happening by the end of the year, and I don't know. That might have me with on the cover. Might have me with like a dinosaur or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it gets there. Might be a dinosaur with me on the toilet. I don't know. Maybe me on a toilet on a dinosaur. So we'll see.
That'd be awesome. That'd be a cool cover. It would grab people. It would pull their attention. And so,
hope so. Yeah, we'll see. Or that may not happen. That may not happen at all. I don't know.
Nah. But yeah, thank you, Durst, for dropping this. Y'all be sure to go check. Seriously though, go check this book out. I would not lie to you. I just wouldn't have asked her. I would not have had Sonia on to hang out if the book sucked. I thought the book was awesome. It was my birthday present to myself, and I was not let down. It was pretty awesome. It was one of my favorite indie reads from this past year for sure. That's why I'm so glad that you said that you're going to do a third one. What's like? Give us like a little sneak peek. Do you know anything about what you're going to put in the third title?
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably got half of it written at this point, because when I was putting out these strips in like 2020, 2021, I did so many that I still have some I didn't even put in the first two issues yet. So there are a bunch of those that I'd kind of like to go back and sort of redraw. But like, no, I have like whole long running list of stories that I'm planning to draw. Now, of course, off the top of my head, none of them are coming to me. But it's more personal stories. I could totally look at my list right now and like pull out a juicy detail for you if you like.
Do it.
Let me see what I got here. What's it?
And you guys at home, if you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask. Immortal Biggie Shack. I'd be happy if I can get through the year and keep my
one story I want to put in there is the time I got hit by lightning. That's a story I haven't told yet.
What? You got hit by lightning?
I don't want to give it all away, but yeah, there was a time when I was a kid, I was like 14, and I had like lightning go into my left arm. So I've been saving that one up, so that might be in there.
How does that happen? That's crazy. How does that even happen?
Then, then you hold onto a metal pole, and then that's how that goes. Yeah, It wasn't on purpose. It just happened. There's a time I had a whole conversation with a cockroach, like a whole, not like verbally, but like a cockroach started like communicating with me. And that only happened a couple years ago. So that's one. And I'm not making that up. Seriously.
I want to see that illustrated. I can't wait to see that illustrated.
Yeah, there's all these stories that I want to tell.
The thing about it, I know that it all makes sense in your head. I just can't wait to see you put it on paper.
Yeah, well, I mean, all this actually happened, so it's like, how do I just tell someone about it as part of a strip? Then I have like some more like dating fail strip ideas, just bad dates I've been on. One where I got into an argument with a girl about how many movies Quentin Tarantino had made, which was like the stupidest argument, which was not that hard to verify, and yet.
No, anyway, were you looking for ways out on that date?
No, I just wanted to get to the sex, and then like the argument about Tarantino happens, and it's like, well, it's not going to happen now.
It's just annoying at that point. You just want to get rid of her and leave, right?
Yeah. Gonna argue with me about Tarantino movies I'm not putting out. Jeez.
Who are some of your favorite what are some of your favorite films and film directors?
Oh God.
I'm sorry to keep putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Oh no, this is all good. No, I'm not saying oh God because I don't want to answer it. It's just that I have like this like great love for film and everything. I like really funny movies and I like weird stuff. I'm a huge David Cronenberg fan. Love
Cool.
Cronenberg films. Love, oh my God, his latest one, Crimes of the Future, was fantastic. I love Dead Ringers, Videodrome, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And along those lines, I'm really into like the films of Shinya Tsukamoto, the Japanese director, who's kind of like the Japanese sort of Cronenberg, and so like he did Tetsuo the Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 roles. Tetsuo the Iron Man, Tetsuo 2 Body Hammer, and Tetsuo Bullet Man, which we don't have to talk about that third one. But those type of things. I love films by Takashi Miike, Ichi the Killer, and Gozu, and that kind of stuff.
I was trying to write some of those down as you were.
Oh, I can send you a whole list.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check some of those out.
Yeah, I love that, just that kind of stuff that will like mess with your mind and whatever. So
Hey, the Immortal Biggie Shaq wants to know: do you have a comic book collection?
yeah, I've got all the comics that I've bought since I was like 12, just tons, and I've got all the books in my room. I've got like pretty much every Spawn issue from when it started until 2000 or so, like for the first 8 years or something like that. I mean,
Wow.
I got so much stuff. I loved Dawn, Linsner's Dawn. I have all these like old Dawn comics.
Yes, he's one of my favorites. Linsner is one of my favorite artists.
Yeah, I love Dawn. I had a Dawn poster in my room when I was a teenager. I loved Chaos comics. I was Purgatory and Evil Ernie and Lady Death, and
those are awesome.
So many other Image books. I loved. You and I had talked about this a while, like the 10th. I really loved the 10th.
Yeah. That's how I knew you collected comic books at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just like all crazy monsters and hot comic book women, and so I was into that stuff. And I'm also really into horror manga. I love horror manga a lot.
That's cool.
So I've got pretty much everything ever published in English from Hideshi Hino, which is all pretty rare at this point. Love Junji Ito, Shintaro Kago's work. Kazuo Umezu. I've got a bunch of books by him. And then I also grew up kind of loving heavy metal and like all those European artists, you know. So I've got like pretty much every like book by Aspiri that was published in English, and Serpieri, and a bunch of the Kevin Eastman stuff from that era.
That's awesome.
But got a ton of books by Jodorowsky, like the Inkle and all his whole Jodoverse stuff. I got all that. Yeah.
Nice. You got a pretty sick collection. Damn.
I got a lot of good stuff. I got a whole bunch of dirty comics. Oh my God. I have so many dirty comic books. Back when like Heroes Comics was around and NBM, I've got so much of that filth. It's great.
Well, I don't know what it is about filth that's so nostalgic for me, but I love like 80s and 90s filth. I can't help it. I guess I was just a perv growing up. I don't know.
It worked for me. It worked for me.
Hey, the Nerdy Weds want to know, where and when are some of your upcoming shows?
So right now, I mean, like I'm in LA, so I'm mostly doing stuff around here at this point. I'm not really planning on traveling anymore around the country anytime soon. I'm probably gonna. I don't have anything planned yet, but I'm definitely going to be at LA Comic Con in, I guess, December. I'm certain I'm going to be doing something there because I'm there every year.
That's awesome.
If you're in the LA area, I'm going to be at the Pancakes and Booze art show in November. So that's on the list.
Cool.
And then I have a thing I'm vending at, a thing called Experimental Night this Sunday here in Hollywood. Check my Instagram for more info on that. I'll have that up soon. So those are my 3 main upcoming things, and then there'll be more.
Now, what's up with the what did you say, Pancakes and Booze? What was that?
Oh, it's an art show. You know what? That's all over the country. That happens in a bunch of different cities. It's like a big collective art show, and they have like lots of artists and vendors, and they have like live body painting and music, and you get like drinks, and they serve pancakes. So it's not bad.
Sounds like a pretty cool concept to me.
Yeah.
Immortal Biggie Shaq. That's funny, man. Yeah, right. What's going on, Comiverse? Glad you could make it, Tony. Glad that you could make it. Yeah, you guys be sure to go check out. Wait, somebody throw the link out there one more time for me, if you would, please, where you could find this awesome title by Sonia Saturday. I want some of you guys to go. I want y'all to go buy you got 12 copies left.
I have like 12 left. Yeah.
Y'all should go buy the remaining 12 copies. Just everybody just go bum rush and pick up the last 12 copies. That way you'll be forced to do a second print at that point, right?
Yeah, I totally would. Once these sell out, I'm definitely planning to do a second printing. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Would you do a different cover, or would you stick to the same? Because like sometimes they kind of do the same cover, but just like a little bit of a color variant, or sometimes they just change up the cover altogether. What do you think you'd do for the second print?
I think I do the color variant. I was already thinking about that. Yeah, I might actually change the hair color just because, like, for these comics, like my character had like the pink hair, but I don't have pink hair anymore. I'm constantly like by the time I like got around to like my character being established as having pink hair. Once that happened, I was like, well, now I can't have pink hair in real life anymore. So it'll probably change to like yellow or something.
That's what I was going to ask. Where are you going next with it? What's the next phase of Sonia Saturday?
Like for me in real life?
Yeah, the evolution. What are you going to evolve to next?
I mean, eventually I hope to like grow really big like demon wings.
Yes.
That's what I really want next.
Style. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want. Like, I mean, in my ideal world, I would just be purgatory, like with just like big claws and teeth and stuff. So like, I haven't quite started growing them yet, but one of these days, hopefully, yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. Nerdy Wed said that they would definitely travel for that. Yeah, y'all be sure if you're in the area out that way on the West Coast, be sure to go check out the art. Go say hi.
Yeah, I'm friendly-ish.
Yeah, maybe depending on the day, right? Could catch you in a bad mood or something, and
actually, you know what? No, when I do shows, I actually really love meeting people.
I'm just playing.
I like it. I like getting out there. I like to pretend like, no, I'm not going to be very friendly, but I actually really enjoy it. So.
No, you've always been like super awesome to me, and I really appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us this evening. I think that's really awesome of you. I was glad to finally be able to talk to you. I wanted to know so much about you. Like I wanted to know more about like what inspires you to create and just little things like that.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really awesome. I really appreciate it, and it's nice having people who appreciate my work. So thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let's see, Nerdy Weds. I feel you, Sonia. I want to grow Leku. I'm not sure what that means. I don't even know how to say that, honestly. Let's say I'm friendly too.
Friendly-ish. I actually had someone the other night I was talking to at a bar. She told me she liked talking to me because I was friendly, but not too friendly. It's like, okay.
Not overly friendly.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Or like the close talkers, the ones that get really, really close in your face to talk to you.
Yeah. I don't know. When I'm not interested, I'm clearly not interested. And I'll just kind of get out of there. Not you. I'm saying when I talk to people out in the world. So.
I have a hard time lying to people or like, I guess, acting like I like I can't act like I like somebody. I'm not good at that. I've never been good at that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I don't think I can really pretend like I like somebody. Like I can have a friendly conversation with someone when I'm not really interested, and then I figure out how to like get out of there and keep it pleasant. But yeah, I can't really pretend to like someone if I don't.
Well, when is the part 3 of the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life? When did you say you were planning on dropping it?
I want to get it out by the end of the year. I want to have it done, by the end of 2023, hopefully, which means I got to keep jamming on it. We'll see. Hopefully, may not quite happen, but that's my goal. So
I was just trying to trick you into speaking it into existence. Just speaking it into manifest it.
It maybe now that I've said it out loud, maybe I actually have to do it now, because I think this might be the first time I've ever said anything about it in public. So maybe I have to do it.
Yeah. You're obligated to now.
Right. Yeah.
Well, when you did the what was the last con that you did? Was it Long Beach Con?
Yeah, I was at Long Beach Comic Con 2 weekends ago. Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. I did one panel and had a signing, an hour signing at a Prism Comics booth, which is like a nonprofit I've been a part of for like 15 years. So I was just down there for a day, but it went really well. I did this panel called Geek Pop Crossfire with this group of friends. It's the third time we've done it, the third convention we've done it at. So it's just kind of a fun time. We're just kind of joking around about movies and stuff and giving our opinions on like Marvel and DC movies and Star Wars and all that kind of stuff. And so
what are your opinions on the current state of Marvel and DC movies?
It's all great. It's all fantastic. I love
You like them?
all of it. I don't watch most of it, but I think it's great. I love it.
Okay, I feel you. That's cool.
Yeah, it's mostly stuff like that. Just me saying things just to be funny. I don't know, but yeah. So it was good. It was smaller than it used to be, but I think we all had a good time. So
you
should.
Stuff.
That's nice.
You should try to come to HeroCon in Charlotte.
I would love to. I would love to get out and do more East Coast cons. I don't think I've done any convention on the East Coast since a while. Since I moved to LA. I did a conference out in New York like 4 years ago, but that might have been the last time I was there. So yeah, I would love to do more East Coast cons.
What's life like out there? Do you like living in California?
Yeah. I really love LA. It's a total mess. I really like it a lot. I really love Hollywood. It's dirty and ugly and it's phony and it's like fake glamour and I just really love it. Like I love the phoniness and the fakeness and the weirdness and I don't know. I'm just into it for some reason because I like film and I like film history and there's like so much film history. I'm just like around it all the time everywhere I go, So and plus, I'm really into like live music a lot and like I can see like everybody comes to LA at some point, so I can see pretty much there's always live music to see and I'm really into that. And plus there's no end of goth clubs to go to in the Southern California area, especially around LA. So I've always got a place to go dancing, put on horns and fangs and blood and go dancing. So
nice, pretty, active nightlife out that way for sure.
Yeah.
Not like here in Tennessee. Life's slow here in Tennessee, probably a lot slower.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and so like I went back and visited there in January for the first time in like 4 years, like since before the pandemic, and it's just a lot slower and whatever. It's just a different way. Like I don't dislike it. I just kind of like the energy out here more. I like it when more stuff's happening. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say to somebody who had ideas in their head and wanted to make a book of their own? What advice would you give to somebody that wanted to do something like that on their own?
You can. Like, no, there's nobody out there who's going to stop you. Like, you can just make a comic book if you want. Like, a lot of people do. Like, if you just want to make a comic book, you can just get some pencil and paper, or I guess now everyone's drawing on their tablets now. Everyone's drawing on their iPads now. But like, you can just make a book and have it printed. Like, it's not tough. Like, I guess my best advice for that is it's not as daunting a task as you might think it is. It's a lot of work. Making comics, especially on your own, is a lot of work. People don't really realize how long it takes to make a comic, but that doesn't mean it's not doable. It's totally doable. Like, lots and lots and lots of people do it, and you can do it too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody? We were talking a little bit about mental health earlier, and I wanted to touch back on that for just a second while I still had you. But what's something that like you would recommend to somebody that would potentially help somebody was struggling with mental health out there?
Well, I mean, that's like a pretty wide ranging. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. But I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like the first step is to decide that you want to feel better. Like, because for a long time I was just so miserable, and sometimes you just feel like you get trapped. You feel like you're trapped in like just this like sadness and misery and whatever it is. So for me, the big step anytime I need to make a change is to decide that I don't want to feel like this, and I want to get better, and I want to find a way to get better. Like, you just have to desire to get better. Like, it's really easy to get trapped in the sadness and the negativity. But if you decide, I want to feel better, I want my life to feel better, I don't know, that's an important decision to make, because then you will start taking the steps to do it. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
E-Man wants to know, what are some genres in comics you'd like to get more attention?
Genres in comics that I would like to see get more attention. Mine?
Yeah, like I was actually going to say more adult themed comics. There aren't enough adult themed comics on shelves. Honestly, there really aren't.
Well, I mean, I mentioned earlier that I've been like with Prism Comics. It's like an LGBTQ nonprofit, and I've been doing stuff with them for like 15 years. So
awesome.
like when I started hanging out with them 15 years ago, most of what they had there in like the queer comic scene was mostly just stuff for gay men. It was just like comics about big ripped men with like huge bombs and stuff like that. And there wasn't really a lot of room for what I was doing. And now it's like totally shifted. Now it's really moved away from the adult stuff. And now it's mostly like kind of YA stuff, kind of cutesy, like, yay, we're all happy and we're in love and it's all fun and everything's great. And that's great for all that, especially for younger readers. That's just not for me. Like, I want, like, the stuff that I do is like honest and funny and also kind of dark and sarcastic, and I don't shy away from the dark stuff. Like, I don't know what you call what I do, but it's like adult humor, I guess. It's like,
I think so.
Even a lot of like the real life books that are out there now, like memoir comics, that's all supposed to be like, everything's great now, it's all good, and I didn't have that much of a trouble, but like, no, I want to get like harder with it. I want to get like more raw. Maybe
I would definitely say that it's like adult humor that kind of delves into adult erotica a little bit.
Oh,
I would say so, because you do a little bit. You kind of dive into some erotica in there.
I mean, I talk about sex stuff. That's curious to me. Like, does actually any of this strike you as erotic? Really?
Well, I mean, just the self-pleasure story and things like that. I mean, you kind of dive a little bit into, so I don't know, enough to where I would say that it's
cool.
A little bit. I think it's awesome. Really, I do.
Thanks. No, I that's totally cool. I honestly hadn't thought about it that way. I kind of feel like I'm just telling my stories and I don't really shy away from that stuff. So that's cool. I like that. That's right.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Cool. Thanks.
Well, thank you guys at home for showing up tonight. Everybody that showed up to watch and everybody that shows up to watch the replay later. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. And I wanted to thank you so much, Sonia, for spending an hour with us tonight and hanging out and talking to me and letting us know a little bit more about you and your awesome artwork and your awesome books that can be found over on Etsy. Somebody, if you would drop the link one more time, please, for me. But 12 copies left. And if the 12 copies are sold, a second print will be done. So we need to sell the rest of those 12 copies. Thank you so much, Sonia, for hanging out with us tonight. Really, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really awesome. Thank you all so much for watching and for being interested. I really appreciate it. So this is rad. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been fun. But guys, we'll see you next week with Trish Forstner from Stray Dogs, Darkwing Duck, all kinds of good stuff. But y'all be back next Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for now, go over to Geek Out with Roscoe's channel. They'll be hanging out with Remy Q Studios tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see you guys next Monday. Peace, y'all.